it's been mind blowing to me lately, as we've been on the topic of transhumanism, and as we've been on the topic of all this emerging technology, because it seems to me that there's just been little hints and whatnot lately that this is actually coming a lot sooner than any of us have really thought it has. And that was one of the topics that we discussed last night on Lee Rogers' program. We were discussing transhumanism and that whole deal. It was kind of startling today to see this news story here that was posted from the AFP today, or yesterday rather, but I just saw it today. And we were talking about, or I was talking about last night on his show, and it talked about on my show previously as well here, that, you know, it seems to me that this whole WikiLeaks thing has been the operation they've been running to do away with the existing internet, to bring in Internet 2, which then would tie into artificial intelligent machines and us basically turning over our reality to this artificial construct. And I find it interesting that we have a article here concerning a Russian tycoon who has now apparently said that's exactly what's happening. That's exactly what's coming. Listen to this. This is insane. It just blows my mind sometimes. I'll talk about something, and then the very next day, there's a news article concerning what I was just talking about. This is weird. The emergence of artificial intelligence is to transform the internet industry and social networking over the next decade. Russia's leading web tycoon said in an interview on Tuesday. The low-profile Yuri Milner, the chairman of the rapidly expanding Mail.ru internet firm and CEO of DST Global Investment Company, who built minority stakes in Facebook and other Western firms, made the comments in a rare interview with Vedomosti. I think that in 10 years, if you ask a question on a social network and you get an answer, you will not know if a computer or a person has answered you, Milner told the Financial Daily. You will receive a question. You will not know if it has been asked by a person or an artificial intelligence. And by answering, you help the computer create an algorithm. I don't like the idea of that. I mean, isn't that like, you know, data mining 2.0? I mean, because that's what they do now with, you know, spam and cookies and all that junk. And this idea of you have to answer a question. Well, what if I don't want to answer a fucking question, whether it's from a real person or an artificially intelligent one? How about that? That doesn't seem to factor into this guy's explanation here. Mail.ru, which is part owned by Russian magnate Alizar Umanov and recently enjoyed a solid IPO in London, has grown into the biggest internet firm in the Russian-speaking world with stakes in the most prominent portals. It rose to prominence abroad when it unexpectedly took a 2.4% stake in Facebook. DST Global, the investment vehicle, also has an undisclosed stake of its own that unconfirmed reports put it totaling a holding of 10%. In the interview, Milner made no comments on the size of the Facebook stake or Mail.ru's holdings in online games portal Zynga and deal of the day website Groupon. Milner said that there has been a revolutionary change in demand for information, and now there was as much information generated in the last 2 days as there was in the history of civilization up to 2003. I don't want to glaze over that. That's a huge statement, don't you think? Let me read that again. Milner said that there had been a revolutionary change in demand for information. Now that's interesting. A revolutionary change in demand for information. Well, by who? Who is demanding this information? That they don't give that information on who is demanding this information. Milner said there had been a revolutionary change in the demand for information. Well, immediately I'll tell you who my first suspect comes to mind as needing all that information, and that would be one of these artificially intelligent computers that this guy's talking about right here, something like a Caesar 3 system running the entire planet, hungry for information. The more information it gets, the bigger it grows, the more intelligent it becomes. Come on, guys, you've all seen the sci-fi movies. You know what happens here. You know what happens next in the story. So that's a hell of a statement there. I'm going to read it. Let me read it in its entirety. Milner said there had been a revolutionary change in demand for information And now there was quote, this part is in quotations, as much information generated in the last 2 days as there was in the history of civilization up to 2003. Well, what's so special about 2003? What happened in 2003? Because again, there has been speculation and there's been stuff that has come out that has talked about how 9/11 was the first operation that was turned over to this supercomputer system and was completely ran entirely automated. So that would stand to wonder if the invasion of 2003 of Iraq and Baghdad was not a program and an operation that was run from computer models as well. It does make you wonder. He defended the company's tight focus on consumer internet products and in particular social internet, saying that we have chosen a strategy to have a global expertise in a very narrow sector. He said that in every internet sector, there was a tendency for one single firm to become dominant, as with Facebook and social networking in the English-speaking world. On the internet, there's a tendency for a winner takes all, and a leader emerges in every niche with surprising consistency. This is the main issue that we look at. When we made our first investment in Facebook, it was not obvious that it was a winner. So artificial intelligence to transform the web, says Russian tycoon, even though he doesn't really give us a whole lot of information as to what that's going to entail, does he? Yeah, because I think that's quite a bold statement to be made when nothing in the article really backs up why that is. I mean, I would say that the stuff that I talked about last night on Lee Rogers' program concerning that issue of artificial intelligence and AI supercomputers and Internet 2, I would say I probably described that better than this guy did, and this is the headline of the article here. So that's a very interesting thing. I wanted to come straight out of the gates with that one today because it definitely tied in with a lot of the other issues that we've been talking about recently. It seems that this topic, and I felt that way when I saw the Tron movie, the new Tron movie in IMAX. I felt that I don't know. I just felt that movie. It was originally supposed to come out in, I think, June or July, so they've had the movie done. I sort of thought it was kind of an interesting thing that they waited to put it out till right around Christmas, and right when, conveniently enough, the entire WikiLeaks thing was breaking wide open. That really sort of hit me when I was watching the movie in the theater. I was sort of going, this is interesting timing, because especially with all the cyber warfare stuff that started happening there, concerning that, and all of a sudden it's cyber war, and certainly the new Tron movie deals with that subject in a great deal. So that's the thing I started seeing, that more and more, all of a sudden, since that film was released, transhumanism has been in quite a bit of the news and in quite a bit of news stories, and enough to where it's warranted me talking about it a lot more than I normally do. It's amazing. But let's continue on here. Again, if you'd like to join us tonight on the broadcast, 214-613-5732. We are live here tonight, 7:23 p.m. Central Standard Time here at Wednesday, December 29th. We talked earlier in the broadcast tonight about this article concerning this Russian tycoon who said that AI and artificially intelligent supercomputers are going to transform the web, coinciding with what we talked about last night on the Lee Rogers program. And so we've been talking quite a bit about that, the AI technology, and I plan on making a film about that in the future. But check this out, right in line with the rest of these stories. Unbelievable stuff. I mean, we say it and talk about it, and then we see a news article. Listen to this. Emotionally sensitive sat-nav is being developed. This is from the London Telegraph. There can be few motorists who have not been tempted to hurl a sat-nav system out of the window when it effortlessly guides their car into a traffic jam. However, navigation devices in the future could be smart enough to know when they have upset the driver and react accordingly. Wasn't that nice? Professor Peter Robinson, head of the emotional robotics at Cambridge University, is working on devising a generation of smart computers which will be able to detect and react to users' moods. One application could be in a sat-nav system, which could be use the technology to display some sympathy with the driver's state of mind and react accordingly. I love gadgets like GPS navigation systems, but I hate the fact that they're so difficult to use. I think that they were designed by sadists, he said. The problem is, computers don't react to how I feel. If I'm pleased or annoyed, they just ignore me. We're building emotionally intelligent computers that can read my mind and know how I feel. Oh, that's comforting. You know what? What if I don't want a goddamn computer to know how I feel? How about that? You see, that's not even factoring into these people's decisions when they're creating this technology, is it? What if we don't want that? I understand if you want to make that option and some people can have it, but that's not what they want to do with this technology. They want to make sure everybody gets it and everybody is a customer. That's what nationalized, socialized medicine and the nationalized healthcare system is about, making everybody a customer. That's what Facebook is about. That's what transhumanism is about. What can be better for the bottom line than to have every single man, woman, and child alive on this planet at this time as a customer? Nothing. And that's what these people want in all fields of the multinational corporations and the people who are bringing in this technology. Computers are really good at understanding what someone is typing or saying, but they need to understand not just what I'm saying, but how I'm saying it. The technology partly relies on devising an ability to detect the mood of a user through a number of sensors. It tracks facial expressions, hand gestures, and even the tone of a user's voice. Armed with this information, the sympathetic sat-nav system would adjust its behavior according to ease motoring stress. You could devise a system which would see how a driver was feeling at the time and concentrating. If a driver was stressed, it could stop a mobile phone from ringing, turn the radio off, and even stop giving instructions until the driver had recovered his composure. The emotionally empathetic sat-nav system is some way away. An initial experiment entitled Putting a Robot in the Passenger Seat of a Car, rather than giving current instructions, engaged in a conversation with the driver as it gave directions in a reassuring tone. So there you go. We need everything to know how you feel. And, forget about whether or not this information is going to go into some other, larger data mining operation. They have no thought to that. Not even a second thought to that at all. And I had a friend who was teaching over in South Korea for a while. I sent this story to her. And which her response was, well, I'd like to see robots try to get these kids to behave. But nonetheless, South Korea schools get robot English teachers. Boy, I mean, it's just, we start talking about transhumanism and all this stuff, and look where it goes. Look what happens. All this goddamn news starts coming out about this kind of stuff. Anybody else but me think it's a little bit odd? And the whole timing of Tron coming out right with WikiLeaks and the whole cyber war stuff going down. I mean, you can't sit here and tell me that's all a coincidence, folks. They had that movie done. It was supposed to be out in June. They waited till right when WikiLeaks stuff was happening, put it out. Come on. Almost 30 robots have started teaching English to youngsters in a South Korean city, education officials said Tuesday, in a pilot project designed to nurture the nascent robot industry. Inki, a white, I love how it's called Inki, almost like Inki. Engkey, Ingkey. Kind of like Inki. That's very interesting. A white egg-shaped robot developed by the Korean Institute of Science and Technology began taking classes Monday at 21 elementary schools in the southeastern city of Daegu. The 29 robots, at about 3.3 feet high, with a TV panel for a face, wheeled around the classroom while speaking to the students, reading books to them, and dancing to music by moving their heads and arms. The robots, which display an avatar face of a Caucasian woman, are controlled remotely by teachers of the English in the Philippines who can see and hear their children via a remote control system. Cameras detect the Filipino teacher's facial expressions and instantly reflect them on the avatar's face. Said Sang Day, a senior scientist at KISS. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Asian names just make me smile. That's all. And they make me smile. Am I going to burn in hell for that? Okay, maybe so. But, Asian names make me smile. I have to say it. I'm sorry. Song Gong Sang Day. What a name. Well-educated, experienced Filipino teachers are far cheaper than their counterparts elsewhere, including South Korea, he told the AFP.